Say you ain't been hanging around my crib, but here's something I want to know. I want to know what in the world is going down. How come my dog don't bark when you come around? I got the baddest dog, he'll bite anybody. He bit my little brother, took a chunk out of my old sweet little mother. He bit the mailman, he sees him every day. He takes one look at you, he just want to jump up and play.
All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, and it's been a while since I talked comics. I've been trying to figure out how to get back into talking comics for a while. It's my passion. I have a lot of passions though, but comics are like my hardcore passion. If you can see in the background of most of my videos or whatever I'm wearing, there's always a comic book or something nearby. And after last year and 2020 was really rough. And it was really rough on my comic stuff. Because, not that I was not collecting, but the people I used to watch and talk about comics with, I really fell out with a lot of those people because I didn't agree with their worldviews. And so it kind of bummed me out talking about comics. And I tried to make a video, and it's probably still coming, about The Nice House on the Lake by James Tynion. Which, if you need a really quick recommendation, it's amazing. But today we're talking about what I consider to be the book of the year. What I think is the book series of the year. Before I had a video a ways back for Livio Ramondelli's The Kill Lock, which was that book's book of the year for me. And that was an amazing series. And I finally found something that I've been reading all year. It's still early, but so far in June, this is the book of the year to me. And you clicked on it, so you already know what I'm going to talk about. But we're talking about Stray Dogs by Tony Fleecs, with art by Trish Forstner, whose art in this book is fantastic. You got colorist Brad Simpson, layouts Tone Rodriguez, flatter Lauren Perry, logo design Lauren Herta, and pre-press Gabriella Downey. This is from Image Comics, and this book, I cannot believe. When, I saw at the local comic book shop, I saw this book, and I went, But I was convinced by my local comic book shop owner and his co-worker that this is the book to pick up, and if I'm wrong, they'll give me my money back. Well, after I picked up this first issue, I was like, send me all the books you can. I'm currently I'm waiting to get the fourth printing of the first issue of this book, because they also make some really great variants that are horror movie homages, kind of like they did with the Deceased covers, except these are actually better. These are better than that. And Deceased had some pretty good covers. But we're not going to spoil the ending until way later. So the first right thing about this book you need to know about, right, is this is a book about a bunch of dogs who live with this guy. And the latest dog that has come to live there has come there under very mysterious circumstances. This dog is very freaked out. And we find out that Sophie is this little dog here. And when they get to this house, and it's a big welcome, there's all these dogs everywhere, and the guy seems to take really good care of the dogs. But Sophie's got a memory. Sophie's got a memory locked in her head that causes her to believe that where she's at is not a very safe place. And the rest of the series is Sophie trying to convince the other dogs that where they're at is not a good place. And over 5 issues, they managed to tell one of the best stories. I can't believe it. They pulled it off. I can't believe Tony Fleecs pulled it off. I can't believe everybody pulled it off that makes this book. But they gave us a riveting story that is just dogs. And one of the greatest things about this book is the art. It's so good. It's very much like a Disney-inspired looking book about, like everything in here. And because it's, Disney's famous for anthropomorphizing animals. And they do this, and you'd think, oh, this cutesy little book. What is it? Just dogs talking to each other, right? But wrong. Wrong. Because there's a mystery going on here involving the owner of all these stray dogs and how the memories of Sophie really start to affect the other dogs' memories of what is really going on with the guy that owns them. It does a great job with character. And also, these dogs are dogs. The story never forgets that these are dogs, so they act like dogs. There is the jump in reality, of course. They talk, but they don't talk, they talk like Stewie on Family Guy talks. They understand each other, nobody else does. And they're limited to what they can do. All right, it doesn't just make these big leaps in logic. Everything is still based on what a dog is capable of. A dog doesn't suddenly start, making phone calls or, going for a gun or anything like that. Everything is revolved around what is actually going on and how a dog's mind works and how a dog's memory works. And wrapped up in this murder mystery and the plot of all these dogs, it's just a fantastic story from beginning to end. And I just read Stray Dogs number 5 that came out this last week, and I honestly did not know how they were going to pull off an ending to this story in just one issue, because it's just so daunting and so amazing, because we're talking about dogs. How are dogs going to solve a murder mystery? And they did it. Tony Fleecs did it. Again, Forstner, who did the art, did it. Everybody involved should be congratulating themselves. I do have another book series coming out called Dog Days. Stray Dogs Dog Days, I think. And another cool thing is at the end of all these books, you have, pictures of people's dogs. Let me show you a better one. So other people have been sending in the pictures of their dogs and how much we love dogs. And that's a part of this. Like, some people are like, I'm a cat person, I'm a dog person, I'm a bird person. I'm an animal person. I love all animals. I don't really care. I mean, sure, do I like dogs? If I had to pick a dog over a cat, I would pick a dog, sure. But I got nothing against cats. But here's Stray Dogs number 1, Dog Days is coming. But just if you love your pets, you're going to love this story, because it's funny, it's scary, it's thrilling, it leaves you on the edge of your seat. Like, this is like Hitchcock for dogs. Like, if your dogs could read, they would want to read Stray Dogs, because this is such a great representation of just how awesome dogs are. And it leaves you in the end, this first series of books, I don't know what Dog Days is going to be about, but it leaves you satisfied, happy, and I can't recommend this book any higher. Forget about how good some of the stuff is at Marvel and DC and other places, but Image has allowed Tony Fleecs and Forstner and the other people involved to make an incredible book. Now, I'm going to talk some spoilers here, so anybody who has not read this book, go pick up the trade, go to your local comic book shop, read the book now. Spoilers from here on out. So anyway, for anybody who has read this or doesn't even care and just wants me to tell the story. So what we find out is the Trish, the very first dog that we see in this book, Sophie, she gets to this place with all these other dogs. She's introduced to this world. All these dogs living the life, right? She's brought there by a man who thinks he's taking, she's new, so she's scared. All the other dogs try to welcome her, but she has a very bad memory. And I don't mean bad memory like animals have bad memories certain times, but her bad memory is that her owner was murdered in front of her, and the person who did it, she believes, is the person who brought her there. And so over the course of the series, some of the other dogs start to remember their masters and their mysterious circumstances because their memories are weird. They, sometimes they need things to jog their memories. A scent, a lot of times, is what does it. And so little by little, they come to realize that they're pretty sure that the guy who's taking care of them is killing their owners and keeping them. Worse is as it goes along and they start to check out the yard and other areas of where the mystery deepens, they find where things are buried, that there are bodies buried on the property. One dog unfortunately finds out, and it's so sad, one of the dogs gets killed in this investigation, and I can't even tell you how sad I was at the moment of it as it happened. I'm still trying to be a little vague, but we're spoiling things, so I need to stop. There's a dog also, the oldest one that's been there the longest. He refuses to believe any of this because, his memory, it just doesn't, it's not there. He doesn't, all he knows is he's been taken care of and all the other dogs have been taken care of. And his name is Earl. I almost made a my name is Earl joke. But in the end, Earl goes into a room that none of the dogs are supposed to go in, and he still doesn't believe any of this. But then he sees that not only is this guy killing their owners and bringing them back seemingly to take care of them, what we find out really what's happening is, like a lot of serial killers, he's keeping trophies. And you think, well, okay, he's taking care of the dog, so okay, I'm not trying to justify a serial killer. But the dogs aren't in danger, right? Wrong. He's killing the dogs and mounting their heads on his wall in his special little room that the dogs aren't supposed to go in. And when Earl discovers this room, the owner says, I only have 2 rules. Talking to a dog like a person, but anyway, he tells the dog, 1, you don't come in here, and you never bare your goddamn teeth at me, which the dog is doing both. And in the midst of all this, Earl attacks his captor now that he realizes what he really is. He bites into him. There's a struggle. It ends up with Earl running down the stairs, mouth covered in blood, telling everyone to run as he smashes his way out the bay windows, cutting himself up. And the other dogs are just terrified. They're trying to run here, there, everywhere. There's traffic going across the road. And they don't know how to stop the traffic to get some help. They need somebody to help because they don't know how to get attention. They're dogs. And Earl, in a last-ditch effort to save the other dogs, steps into traffic. He's already probably mortally hurt from jumping through the window. He jumps into traffic and a car hits him, and it causes a chain reaction of other cars crashing into each other so that traffic stops, people get out of their cars, and one of the drivers comes up to the man who has now shot one of the other dogs and is about to kill it, and he's got a shotgun in his hand. He's now confronted with a bunch of people who are going to be questioning, why do you have a shotgun in your hand, and why are you about to kill a bunch of dogs? Why are you bleeding? The man removes his hand from his neck wound that Earl gave him and falls and bleeds out. And so the day is saved by Earl, the dog who didn't believe in any of this. And with the help of Trish, I keep saying Trish, Sophie, Trish is the artist. Sorry, Trish. Started with Sophie and slowly with the other dogs. And a police dog arrives with the other cops, and the dogs are like, check the backyard, smell out the backyard, find the bodies. And the mystery is solved. The dogs are saved. And this man who is now dead in the yard will no longer kill any more dogs or people. And it has this really nice ending where Sophie's being walked by her new owners, and she runs into the dog who welcomed her in the first place, the dog who believed her when nobody else did, that something bad had happened, and how he was the first one that was won over by her and realized what happened to his owner and started the whole chain of events that led to the end. And they don't, the dog that Sophie knew kind of like recognizes her but doesn't, and because of their memory, and probably it's a good thing that they can't remember what happened to them so that they can move on. But it's a nice memory of those two dogs playing together as Sophie makes one last look behind her as her new owners are taking her away. And you find out that all these were shelter dogs that were now rescued by new owners for better lives. And it's just a really sweet ending to this like really fantastic story that is pretty dark. And the art is just a great counterpoint to like the darkness underneath it all. And when it needs to be dark, the animation goes dark, and they use great bits of color that reminds me of stuff that they've used in horror movies where certain things like go red. You know, it's just an amazingly structured, well put together story with written brilliantly by Tony Fleecs. And I can't wait to see what more they're going to do with this series. But this 5-issue book, and I'm not even doing it justice, is just the most fantastic thing I've read all year. The Nice House on the Lake. Well, my camera went dark for a second. The Nice House on the Lake is, for a first issue, is also pretty good, but we'll talk about that in another video. So anyway, Stray Dogs, go to your local comic shop and pick it up. Again, any way you can, even if you have to get the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth print or whatever, or get the trade. Read it, support this book, and you will not be sorry. And if you are, well, then I don't know what to tell you. So if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. Thanks for watching. Thanks for, I hope you guys like me coming back to comics. Hopefully this fuels me to get back into comics a lot more. Hopefully I can find a bunch of new people to talk with about comics, ones that aren't a bunch of Trumpers. But if you hated every single thing that I just said in this review, well, we can give you the last 17 minutes of your life back. If you liked it, please look away. If you didn't, look straight at our little neuralizer here, or we'll make an adjustment to give you the last 17 minutes back and give you a better memory. Here is the memory I choose to give you.